My name is Teng Deng, and I'm the candidate for the South Sudan Football Federation for 2025-2029.
And what inspired you to run for the presidency of the South Sudan Football Federation? And what is your primary goals or your primary vision for the South Sudanese Football Association?
Okay, so I'll answer the first question and I'll answer the second question. So in terms of what inspired me to run for the Federation, I think we need to let your listeners know that the reason we left South Sudan, it wasn't by choice originally, because the circumstances of the war and so on. So we left from here via Sudan, from Egypt to the UK, and so on. I grew up there with both my parents. My father's a surgeon, physician, and my mother was an educator. So we grew up there, going through the school system, going through the academy system and so on. But one of the main things that inspired me is my father's always said, once you finish what you're doing here in the UK, you're going to go back home. You know, we don't know when, but we're going to go back home. Then independence came 2011, and my parents have been coming back and they're here and so on. But so the message is always clear. Once you finish your stuff, you come back home, you contribute to your country, and be a citizen of your own country. But one of the main inspirations is we've always, when I'm working over there in some of the clubs that I'm working at, I'm always being asked, why is South Sudan struggling? Why is South Sudan struggling? You have the attributes. And then also highlighting it now when the basketball started doing well. We have other athletes that play for other countries, whether they're running, whether they're playing football, whatever it may be. And the question became embarrassing consistently. Okay, you guys are not doing well. What is the issue? And obviously I can't explain that to them because there's political stuff going on in this country. But I always just wanted to come back home and basically contribute to our country so we can also move to the next stage, and so we can, improve football as a whole. Since I'm in a football environment, I want people to talk about us the same way they talk about, say, maybe some of the other West African countries, whether it's Egypt or South Africa, some of the powerhouses, so we can also be elevated and have something to be proud of. So that's one of the key things that kind of motivated me to come back, and also. 2020, I tried to come back here, try to communicate with the Federation. It wasn't able to happen. I tried again 2022, 23, didn't happen. So I decided, okay, if that's an issue, if I'm not able to break through into the Federation, let me run and contribute to the South Sudan Football Federation by adding my experience to the football program in South Sudan, so we can elevate it. So
yeah, it's good that you talk about the experience. And first, I just need to know what leadership quality will you bring to South Sudan Football Federation, given your age. You are 38 years.
Yes, I am. Yeah.
So, what leadership quality will you bring to this association?
Well, I think it's first honesty, trust. I think it's the second thing. And an openness, and also it's a desire to give back and contribute to my country. I don't think age is a factor here, to be honest, because yes, I'm 38, but I have a wife and children. So at what point are we going to be calling each other young people? The president of Burkina Faso is my age, and he runs the whole country. So in other nations, they allow the next generation to be able to lead the countries with the advice of those that are older than us. I think this works in most societies. Yes, I'm not running for the president of the country, but I think I have enough leadership qualities, and if I can lead my household and and I can show integrity and be able to control that, I think this is a small window or a small opportunity that I can show people I can lead the country in the football sector. The reason I say specific football sector, because this is all I've ever done. This is all I've ever known. And I know it inside out. So the idea is, if I can lead you on the pitch and lead you as a coach, I think I have the qualities to lead our country forward in this next sector.
Yeah, but experience-wise, you said that you grew up in the United Kingdom.
Yeah.
And when you compare the football's history,
Yes.
the United Kingdom has a long history of
Yes.
starting football.
Yes.
Then what will South Sudan benefit from that?
Well,
What experience?
I think first of all, they'll benefit from the connections that I have, the friends that I have outside of the country. And there's this thing that I keep saying again and again is, I want to bring something home. We have an attitude of where people come here, whether it's business, whether it's technology, they come, they make money in our country, and they leave and take their resources outside of the country. I'm doing the opposite. I'm from here. Yes, I've grown up outside, but I'm South Sudanese. And what I'm trying to do is develop our country through football. This is my mechanism where I want to develop the country. But so what I'm doing is trying to bring the resources from outside so our guys can benefit. That's why I'm trying to say, let's identify some of these players so they can go play outside, because you want your players to play for some of the best clubs in the world. You want your players to go make money. Because when they make money, they'll come back, they'll build a home here, they'll have businesses here, they'll be able to contribute to their families, whether they're in the States or whether they're locally. And for every one person, he impacts maybe 10, 15, 20 people within his family. Now, let's say we have 100 boys and 100 girls that are external and they're bringing resources back into the country in their own field. The country's going to benefit. So it's always, let our country benefit. We have this thing where we don't like to put ourselves first. And me personally, my generation, we want the best. We're exposed. You're exposed. You've traveled around. You've seen how good things are in other countries. Why could we not have the same here? Why could we not have the same?
Right. And then South Sudan football and also across the Africa
Yes.
has been facing a lot of concerns
Yes.
in many sport federations
Yes.
across the Africa regarding the corruption,
Yes.
which is one of the threats that make the people backwards
Yes.
in Africa.
Yeah.
How will you tackle things to do with transparency?
Well, first,
Accountability?
well, I can always talk for our federation. I can't talk about other federations. But what I've always said is the first thing that I do once I'm in office is, one, give access to the media, right? So the media can come in and see what is going on. And then two, we're doing audit. What I mean by an audit is they'll come in, somebody, an independent person, somebody who's completely separate, come and have a look, say, okay, what is going well with media? What is going on with finance? What is going on with admin? What's going on well with coaches and stuff? And once we get that report back, independent report that is not biased, we'll be able to start tackling some of those things. So this is how I best can deal with the issues that are there now. But also, most importantly, I think each sector should be run by people that are from that profession. So if you're a dentist, you need somebody who studied dentistry to come in to fix this issue. You know, if you're a lawyer, you want a lawyer to come and deal with this thing. So same with football. I'm not the only person who's from the football community. There's loads of people in South Sudan that are from the football community.
And what will you do to some of your officials in case you succeed from this job and they will find that they're doing corruptions?
Then that's the case of, well, do a report and then let the law and let the government, let them deal with it. That's the issue. But me, my plan is to come in and fix where the problems are wrong and try to address those issues and move the football forward. What others have done, you just do the legal way, and then after that, let the government and people in the legal department, let them deal with it. That's my answer. So to be honest with you, I'm just here to fix the issues. I'm here to fix football and other stuff. Yes, I know everybody wants me to say, oh yeah, this person will be arrested and such, but that's not my department. That's not my aspect of improving the game. Yes, what's happened has happened, but my goal is to focus on the football and at least start winning games. This is my highest priority.
Yeah, and Football Association or Football Federation in South Sudan have been facing a lot of challenges regarding equal representation
Yes.
in the region of South Sudan,
Yeah.
even when the national games are played.
Yes.
So what will your leadership do to ensure that all those professionals across the region, regardless of their tribe, are incorporated into that?
Well, my policy is in terms of if it's male and female, I've always said 50-50. So whatever we contribute to the men, we contribute to the women. That's the first thing. In terms of all of this tribal stuff, I never grew up with this nonsense, to be honest with you. Me, I've always been considered, my parents have raised me, this guy is South Sudanese, he comes from the country. That's it. So the only thing that qualifies you is we have the same passport or we come from the same region, whether you speak a different language, whether you do this and so on. I come from a generation where we're united. We're united, we're one group. You're from a different region from me, this guy's from a different region from me, but we're not ignorant anymore. We're not stupid. We're not a generation where it's divide and conquer. Because this is an old tactic. It's been happening for centuries. If you follow history, people try to divide and conquer because you have something valuable. As a nation, we have something valuable, whether it's human resources, whether it's natural resources. So people want to break you up through wars and such, so they can kind of benefit from it. War is a business, by the way. War is a business. And to be honest with you, we're not so naive. When we were sent out of this country to go and get educated, whether it's locally or domestically, the education has worked. We're no longer fighting. This doesn't happen. And for me personally, in terms of football, it's those that can do the job. I don't care where you come from. It could be two brothers and they come from Poita, or you can have two brothers that come from Kobo or wherever they come from. They come from Wow or Abia, wherever it is. We're going purely based on talent. Once you go onto the pitch, if you're able to do the job, you're playing. It's as simple as that. Those are the basic rules.
But politicians influence your job.
No, they don't.
For you
no, they don't.
to keep your job,
they
politicians
don't.
influence you.
They don't. Not
and they will say that,
no.
this is my son, and I need my son to play in the national team.
No. Then we just politely decline. There's no way. There's no way. Politicians need to understand, okay, whoever comes and says, okay, yeah, I need your son to play. Okay, if that's the case, let the coach make the decision. Let the coach make the decision of your son. If he's able to play and hang with some of these players that are good players, whether they're domestically or from the regions and so on, let them prove themselves. Let them prove themselves. This is my policy. I've got zero tolerance on that. So in order for us to, because now I bring somebody in, son, as a favor, and he's not able to play, and then we go play against the national team somewhere, and then we lose 4-5-0. Who's going to be accountable? It's not going to be the politician. It's not going to be whoever, the friend or the, it's me. First is going to be the coach, and then it's going to be me. So in order for us to represent our country the best way, we have to choose the best players. And that's the policy is very simple. If you're good enough to be able to do that, and the coach thinks you're a good person, whether you're a friend, whether you're a politician, whether you're just somebody from the street, they get opportunity to play. This is my policy. So this whole thing of, oh, somebody's going to bring their son so they can play in favors, I don't do that. I never grew up in that culture.
Right, let's talk about the women football.
Yes.
The women football in South Sudan is in the growing stage.
Yes.
And it's being undermined in all the activities.
Yes.
What concrete plan do you have to promote this gender equality, empowerment women football nationally?
So I think there's a few things. The first thing is, I think we need to split like the budgets 50-50. I think this is important because whatever the men are contributing to the game, the women can also have the same opportunity to contribute to the game. Right? This is the first thing. And I think the second thing is we need to have a look at like the teams in our league, because the men have 14, 16 teams in the Premier League. The women's team needs to also reflect that, okay? And I think there needs to be some responsibility from some of the bigger clubs. If they have a strong men's team, I think it's important that they have a women's team and also an academy. But also, us as a federation, we can also govern. All we're doing is governing because we're leading. But I encourage.
But is that equality? But you have Premier League for girls?
No, I want to.
You don't have Premier League.
No, I want to have a Premier League for ladies. But what happens is that the teams, the team owners, they're the ones that come in and they're the ones that kind of dictate. Okay, we need to have this amount of players for the men, but maybe we make it a law. Say for every male team that comes in, they must have a women's program. I think this should be a mandate. This should be a mandate. And also, same thing, I believe in equality. The girls should also be paid. When they go to national team camps, they should be paid too. They have.
Will you do it?
Absolutely. Absolutely. If we have a budget that says, okay, camping budget is this much for the men, and when the women go away and they have a camping budget, absolutely, we'll pay the women.
But why do you have a budget for men and you don't have a budget for women?
No, because at the moment, I don't know what's going on at the moment. I'm not in the federation, but as we can see from outside, I'm a fan, you're a fan. So you can see the men have a lot of activities, but I'm sure that there is a budget for camping and such for the women. So once I go in there, until I get a report saying A, B, C, D, if there's, for example, 100,000 that's going to the men and then only 20,000 going to the women, we're not going to do that. We're going to do it based on needs, because they need to travel too. They need accommodation. They need resources. They need coaches and stuff like that. So in terms of, I believe nothing is for free. This is a business. I keep telling people, football is a business, and women need to be paid, men need to be paid, coaches need to be paid, and we need to represent the best players and the best coaches outside. Because when we go play Uganda, and we go play Tanzania, we go play Egypt, all these countries, all they see is South Sudan. They do not see a woman or a man. They see South Sudan, so we need to give our players and our guys the best representation so they can help us succeed.
Right, let's talk about the football union.
Yes.
South Sudan is suffering from lack of facilities.
Yes.
To play football.
Yeah.
And in case you succeed for this job,
Yeah.
what will you do to address this challenge? This thing to do like stadiums and so on, stadium in Juba in the States and also football academy.
So I think I've said this before. One thing that I've said in my manifesto is, first, immediately, we have short-term, medium, and long-term plans. So in terms of the short-term plans, we focus on the international guys first, so we play games so we can generate money. We want to be independent. We don't want to be a burden on the government. We don't want to be a burden on everybody else. We want to be independent. We want to be our own entity where we're making money, so we're an asset to the country, right? So this is the first thing. We generate income internationally, we bring the resources back in, and I think every state, working with every president, we need to make sure that they have a field, they have a playground, The same, we only have one in Bullock, but let's make sure that every single state and every president and every local federation has a field to play on first. That's the first thing. And then we work on the change rooms, then we work on the offices and stuff like that. This is the first priority. Once you have these facilities, next to these facilities, you can start having state academies. You have state academies that's mandated by the Football Federation. And then the individual academies, this is where the individual businessmen or individual owners and stuff, they can come and add to it. But first we must set something up for the state so they can benefit from it. In terms of the stadium, we want to have a stadium. This stadium is too small. So my first priority is to try to work with all the stakeholders, try to get everything we can so we can get a big enough stadium that we can build that the national team can use. Once we've done that, then we just be realistic. Let's finish this, then we can go to the other states where the bigger populations are. Bor is a big population, Wow is a big population, Will is a big population. You may go to Malakal or Nasser, there's big populations there. So you target these big populations and see if we can build something there. But we have to be realistic. I'm being realistic, so it costs us a amount of money to be able to have these facilities, and we want to work slowly, one by one, finish it, and then finish the next one, finish the next one. And we need to have the accountability with FIFA, because they fund some of these things, right? We'll try to get our own money, but they're going to fund it. And then what happens is, if we do one pitch, right? They come, they see the pictures, the evidence, they say, okay, well done, we'll give you some more money, do another one. And then they see it, well done, do another one. But what's been happening is, we're getting resources, and then nothing is done. And then they're coming back and they say nothing is done. So that cannot continue forever. So, and that's where the trust and accountability comes in. So this is my plan in terms of development. We want pitches, we want changing rooms, we want good facilities for our players, but we've got to do it one by one and work with the leaders.
How do you feel when you see South Sudan stadiums being ranked as the lowest in the
It's sad.
in the region?
It's sad. It's sad. It's sad because we have the resources and we have the talent to be able to do that, but you know, personal gain has got into the has infected national pride. That's the issue. Yeah. And personally, it's sad. I don't like to see that. Like, again, we're exposed. We go to our neighboring countries. They have nice facilities. What about us? Like, I don't want to be a second-class citizen. Like, I want the best. I want the best stadium. I want the best car parks. I want the best of everything. And if we're able to generate the money, why can we not have the best also? Why do we always have to take second-hand things all the time? I don't want that. I come from a generation where we want purely the best for our national team and for us. That's what I want.
Yeah, let's talk about our national clubs.
Yes.
Which is playing in the South Sudan Football Federation.
Yes.
They are suffering a lot.
Yes.
In generating income.
Yes.
So what will you do to empower them so that they can also be like the team that you are seeing in England?
So, like I said to you, football's a business, and we need to come up with some kind of agreement. So, in the UK or any other countries, let's just leave any other countries, even in Africa, how teams generate money is usually by fan experience. If the fans have a good experience, they're able to generate money from ticket, and then the federation just here to facilitate. So if you're one team, for example, right, let's say you're Jamus and then you're a Holy Family, you're playing against each other. The stadium now, usually each club will have their own stadium, correct?
Yes.
But that's not the case here. So let's say if Jamus had their own stadium, they would fill the stadium with their own fans, and the money would go towards the players, coaches, and stuff, and they would run it as a business. But now that's not the case. So if everybody's playing out at the stadium, we need to come up with some kind of deal. Maybe there already is a deal, but I think the players need to be high priority because the product is the players. The players and the coaches. The fans come to watch them. They're not coming to see everything else, not coming to see the building. So you have to prioritize the players, right? Prioritize the coaches and prioritize that. So maybe there's a deal where one team has a percentage, another team has a percentage, and then the federation has a percentage for facilitating. Maybe that already exists, I don't know. But this is how you pay some of your expenses. This is how I would deal with it. Especially if we just have one stadium or two facilities or three facilities. I think there should be a split, an even split between the two clubs and us as facilitating. So this is one of the things I would implement, and this is one of the things that I would actually try to enforce. So these guys get equal amount of money, and then also the players and the coaches and everybody around can also benefit from this money. Because it's a business. These guys are not doing it for free. They're not supposed to do it for free. They're supposed to be given something because they have families.
Yeah, when the Premier League started this year, and then it started last year,
yes.
I ran for that constitution.
Yes.
You can see the funds are coming and
yes.
they are paying money.
Yes, yes.
In the stadium
yes.
for that particular game.
Yes.
There is a share which is going to the club,
yeah.
and there are money which is going to the federation.
Yes, yes.
Then the clubs have been complaining so much that the federation is taking also
all the money.
a lion's share
Yeah,
of what collection we belong to.
Yes, to them. Yeah.
Yeah, how will you address that?
That's wrong. I told you, I'm fair and transparent. I was a player, I was a coach, and I understand the importance of making sure that you're giving your resources. Because I keep going back, these players, whether it's male or female players, these guys have families. Some of them have wives, they have kids. So the idea is when this money is coming in, let them have their money, let them have their resources. Because we need to build a relationship with the clubs. There's no point of us as we're just a facilitator. We're not here to take the money from the ticket sales. If we have an agreement, we have an open agreement. Okay, this is your percentage, this is your percentage, and then we split it equally. This is the thought process that I have. You have an agreement, you honor your agreement. This is the generation I come from. I have nothing to gain from this. My biggest desire is so South Sudan can be represented and maybe one day we become one of the powerhouses in the world. This is my biggest motivation. That's purely it.
Right, let's go back to United Kingdom. What is your link with Newcastle United?
So my link with Newcastle United is the scout. There's a scout that I'm very close with. His name is Amos. And Amos used to work with me at Peterborough United Football Club. So he used to work with in the academy there. So we're good friends. He was a scout for the senior team at Peterborough United, and he was in charge of the whole region of the UK. So I left and he went to Newcastle United as a scout. So this is his full-time job. He scouts within Africa, within United Kingdom. And actually, so I reached out to him. I said, look, we have players here in South Sudan, and what I'm trying to achieve is so our players can be identified from as young as 9, 10, 11, 12. So we can also have representation outside. So that's what I've been doing. I've been calling my friends, those clubs that I've worked for in the past. I'm calling them and said, look, we have potential in the country. There's players here, but they don't have the opportunity to be seen. So we can start from the national level. We can start from the Premier League. We can start from the national team games. If we have an international break, let them come so they can see. Because East Africa, in the UK, nobody will tell you this, but they class it as a red zone. Because of war, because of famine, because of safety, because of this. That's why they always go to West Africa, South Africa, North Africa. You don't see these big clubs, majority, they don't come here. They don't come to Sudan, they don't go to South Sudan, they don't go to Kenya, they don't go to Ethiopia, Somalia, they don't go to these regions, they don't go to Congo. And most of these players, most of the time, they've been born outside or they've gone there and then they then represent their countries when they're there. So our whole region is being circled as a red zone. That's why these clubs don't come. It's not that we don't have talent, because they don't have no direct one-to-one connection. But now I'm inviting him, Amos, who's is a scout at Newcastle Football Club. And there are other clubs as well that I've contacted that we will announce very shortly. But all I'm saying is, you guys, based on my actions, not by my words, you know. So when he comes and he arrives and he's looking for players, he might come and find somebody who's 10 years old, or he might find somebody who's 12 years old, or he might find somebody who's 19 or 20 who's in the Premier League who has potential. You know, these clubs, you don't just jump from the South Sudanese Premier League and go straight to the Premier League. It doesn't work like that, because there's a whole academy system that you have to go through. It's an education system, you know. So you start from young, you work all the way through. But if there's somebody that has the potential, maybe at 15 or maybe at 10 or 12, let them grow up there. Let them stay there for 10 years. This is the plan for the development, long-term development. That's why I've invited him. That's why I've invited other people. That's why I reached out to my friends in Zambia. That's why I reached out to my friends in the US, in the schools and these academy systems. So we can export our players. This is a human resource.
So did you get that promise that they
it's not a promise, it's a guarantee.
If you win the election?
No, regardless of whether I win the election, they're coming. So whether I'm the president or not, they're coming. Because I'm going to be in football for a long time. So I said to them, okay, whether I'm the president, they're still coming. So we can coordinate with them. So even if I lose, they're still going to come. I'm not going to say, because I haven't won or whatever. It's for the development of the country. Right. And the same with some of the other clubs that I've reached out to, some of the universities in the US that have school programs, I've reached out to them too. And I said, look, this is a whole market you can come into and you can pick players and so they can develop. So this is one thing I want to make clear. Regardless of what the result is, they're still coming because I want to contribute to my country.
Right, and my last question is, what will be your top 3 priorities in your first 100 days in case you decide to get this office?
Number 1 priority is winning games. Winning games, player recruitment. When I say player recruitment, we need to find the best boys to represent us. Not just anybody, we need to find the best players. And sometimes some of these players, they haven't had the opportunity or the support system to be able to develop. Maybe their housing is not in the right place, maybe their accommodation is not in the right place, maybe they don't even have money and they're stressing about their families. So all of this stuff, there's things that we as a federation should be responsible for. The player care is important. So if the player, you take all these problems off, now the player can go represent your country and produce the best results. So my first thing is, let's identify where all the players are. The ones here, the ones in East Africa, the ones in the diaspora, wherever they are, and we contact them, and then we sell them, this is the mission, this is the plan that we're trying to do to move South Sudan forward. That's the first thing. And I believe if we get all these guys together, locally and internationally, I almost guarantee that our results will improve. Our results will improve because you're getting a different quality of players that are externally and also here. So that's the first thing. The players is important. Focusing on the games is important. And then the second thing is assessing what's going on in the federation. Because there's good people in every company and there's bad people in every company. So I was identifying, okay, well, this person is doing badly because he's under stress or he hasn't been paid for 2 months or 3 months and his family's causing him problems and so on. So some of these issues we need to address and figure out what the issue is. If there are good people, great, we keep them. If there are bad people and they're moving the organization backwards, then we have to let them go. It's as simple as that. Priority is how South Sudan football going to move forward. That's all I care about. And if you're not on that train and you're not helping us move forward and you're dragging us backwards, then you have to move on and go somewhere else. This is my policy. Some people may not like it, but you're there to help football. You're not there for your personal gain. I'm not there for my personal gain. If I'm there for my personal gain, I just go back to the UK or go back to wherever I need to go to and then benefit, and then my family can also benefit. But I want to come home. I really want to come home. And then thirdly, I think we need to build that trust again with not only the fans, not only the players, not over the former players, the former coaches, and also engage everybody. This is a diplomacy. So I'm going to listen to you, I'm going to listen to him, I'm going to listen to everybody and figure out what the problems are and try to and prioritize them, try to deal with those problems and try to have a good fan experience. Because my auntie wants to come to football, but she said, I can't. I'm looking and there's so many kids, there's so many like young guys and like it's intimidating. You know, maybe you have a daughter or a niece that likes football, but she's not able to. So we can start by, okay, let's organize the fan experience for you. Maybe you want to come with your wife and your kids. Maybe we have an area for family, a section, and then you have this side for the general population and everybody else. So they can have a good experience too. And then they can watch football and they can aspire and so on. So these are some of the things that I want to bring. So those are the 3 key things for me.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you so much
very much
for your time, and then I wish you all the best.
Thank you very much.
Yeah,
Thank
all
you.
the best.